Truth Seekers, welcome back. Zach here. Last week, early in the week, somebody left a comment on one of my shooting videos saying, "It's funny we never see any pro shooting stories in the mainstream media." And when they wrote that comment, I thought about it and I couldn't remember any myself. But lo and behold, in the week since that comment was made, there have been two stories put out, mainstream narratives that are positive gun stories, if you will. In both shootings, somebody died, but the person who died is said to be a perpetrator. The story in Mississippi, one of the pro-gun stories, is that a prison escapee armed with a knife broke into a house in the middle of the night, stabbed one of the homeowners, and held the family hostage before being shot. The other story comes out of Seattle, Washington, where supposedly a 7-Eleven was being robbed, but an armed citizen was in the store with a concealed weapons permit and shot and killed the person robbing the store. I've been talking a lot about the movie Taxi Driver recently. That same thing happens in the movie Taxi Driver. Anyhow, let's go and look at these two stories. I want to show you how these stories are coded by the numbers and appear to be the same type of propaganda that's often put out demonizing guns. As I am educating about, this shooting propaganda boosts gun sales. And I think ultimately what the federal government wants to do is charge mandatory insurance fees for gun owners, something the Democratic Party has talked about for decades. And Hillary Clinton, since the 90s, has said she wants to pass a 25% national gun sales tax. All of these boosted gun sales mean tremendous revenue potential for the government should these taxes and insurance fees go into place. Both the states of Mississippi and Washington, where these two stories come out of, have gematria 58, the number of Freemasonry. It is the Freemasons and the Zionists who control the media, who control the police, who control the government, and create these propaganda stories by the numbers. Here's the reporting from Mississippi. A murder suspect who escaped from a Mississippi jail was shot dead by a family he held hostage for several hours inside their home Thursday, police said. After more than a week on the lam, Rafael Arnez McLeod was found dead in the bathtub of a home in Vicksburg, Mississippi, according to investigators. The homeowner told police a man with a knife, later identified as McLeod, approached him around 4 a.m. Thursday, as he and his 5-year-old son headed into the garage, the man forced his way into the home, according to the homeowner. Hours later, the family used their own gun to fight back and escape. So it's a story of bringing a knife to a gunfight. Let me show you what's up with this guy's name. Rafael Arnez McLeod has name gematria of 79, and they also say that the man is 34 years old. McLeod, 34. What's interesting about his age and his name is the word murder in simple English gematria sums to 79, and in Pythagorean gematria it sums to 34. This man ended up dead in the bathtub, victim of a gunshot. So essentially murdered, but in the fashion that it's legal, defending yourself. In simple English gematria, his name sums to 178, similar to the homicide code of 187. But the 79 and 34, they stand out above all. As for saying he ended up in the bathtub, which is interesting, gives us reminders of Whitney Houston and her daughter, bathtub has gematria of 74, just like Masonic, and that might just be a nice little Masonic encoding in this contrived story. Vicksburg has gematria of 49. The story took place on March 10th, 2016, Thursday. A date with 49 numerology. The location corresponds with the date, as it so often does in these shooting hoaxes. Vicksburg in simple English gematria also equals 112, the alternate dialing code for 911. Numbers we see routinely encoded in these stories. The story comes from the police department. The police are not to be trusted. Masonic entities participating in the propaganda. The story is that the man who was shot, the prison escapee, he had been in custody for charges of killing a 69-year-old woman, Sharon Wilson. And Sharon Wilson in Gematria equals 59, just like the kill number in Jewish Gematria. Wilson also has Gematria of 38, like death. So that's the story out of Mississippi. Here's the one out of Seattle, Washington from days later. That story was March 10th. This story is March 13th. This one is a 7-Eleven customer shoots and kills a hatchet-wielding attacker. Seattle's on the 47th parallel. Another special number to the Masons, 7-11, which there are many of in Seattle as there are in other major cities. 7-11 has Gematria 47. 47, 33, 74, the numbers we see routinely showing up in these stories. Seattle originally called Alki, which has Gematria of 33. So here's the story. A customer drinking coffee, perfect, right? Seattle, coffee, playing on what people know. A customer drinking coffee at a Seattle 7-Eleven Sunday morning drew a pistol and shot dead a hatchet-wielding man who went after him and the store clerk, authorities said. Investigators haven't yet identified the suspect, who's believed to be in his 40s and was wearing a mask when he entered the store early Sunday, the King County Sheriff's Office said. The suspect did not make any statements but swung the hatchet at the customer and then went behind the counter and attacked the clerk, the Sheriff's Office said. So, just so you know, they haven't released any updated details. We don't know the name of the shooter. We don't know the name of the victim. We don't know what 7-Eleven it happened at. There's so many 7-Elevens in Seattle. It's why it's easy to give these details and just make up a bogus story. With regards to the word customer, however, it has Gematria of 33, numbers they love to code in the hoax. So does the word company. No coincidence. Our language crafted by these Freemasons who've built this world around us, including the language. Customer and company. Fitting for the story. More reporting. The suspect did not make any statements but swung the hatchet at the customer and then went behind the counter and attacked the clerk, the sheriff's office said. Then the customer fired back, according to the sheriff's office. Paramedics tried to resuscitate the suspect, authorities said, but he died at the scene. The customer, a 60-year-old man, should let you know that the word police in simple English sums to 60, had a concealed pistol license, according to the sheriff's office. He was not injured. The store's 58-year-old clerk had a minor injury to his stomach from the hatchet attack, the sheriff's office said. And as I pointed out, Mississippi has Gematria 58, so does Washington. Freemasonry equals 58. Special numbers to these people. Washington State, named after George Washington, a 33rd degree Freemason. George Washington, born on the 42nd day of the year. Washington's the 42nd state. Can't say it enough, our whole history is by the numbers. From the establishment of the nation to the propaganda stories we get on the daily. And it's because this Masonic network is creating the narratives that we live by. So we can't say there's no more pro-gun stories by the numbers. They gave us 2 last week, and it almost made me wonder if they were reading the comments on my videos, decide to pay tribute. What are the odds? I don't think anybody ever left a comment like that before. It happens, and the next thing you know, 2 pro-gun stories. All right, Truth Seeker, until next time.